Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. And right off the bat on the show today, yes, it's another Top Gear update. Now, if you don't know what exactly took place, if you've been living under a rock over the past several weeks, this is what's taken place so far, or at least what I've been able to gather so far. Some of the back half of Season 22 of the Top Gear franchise was being filmed when a little brouhaha between a producer, which we'll name nameless, mainly because of, I don't think he really needs to be dragged through the mud, this particular deal, and Jeremy Clarkson. Now, there was somewhat of a rumor that quite possibly Clarkson, who had arrived back late from a filming session, wanted a steak dinner. What wasn't available at the time because the staff had gone home, especially the restaurant staff, which has started this big brouhaha between the producer and Clarkson, and supposedly Jeremy Clarkson allegedly punched the guy. Now, this particular situation has gone on for a while, and then there was some talk of some pushing and shoving, and then there was talk that maybe none of that had happened. Then there was some talk that, you know, maybe that this was just somewhat of a childish overreaction to something like that. It's hard telling because the news comes out fast and furious about this, and none of them seem to be going along the same storyline, especially for the fact that the three presenters, mainly being Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond, according to Clarkson, and along with all BBC staff, have been put in silent mode. Even though you've probably seen, at least if you remember the Facebook page, that Mr. Clarkson had this huge F-bomb riddled tirade. I guess I shouldn't call that. He was kind of poking some fun at the BBC, claiming that they had totally effed the Top Gear franchise, and he was talking about an end game for what Top Gear was going to become. Now, this particular deal has got me thinking, especially for the fact of what's come down the pike as of late, because nobody's really talking, other than everybody seems to really be wanting to get back to work, namely the three guys here, and the producer that was actually in the fracas. Here's something that I think is a little bit intriguing, and something that may mean that Clarkson never punched the guy. This quite possibly could have just been a very heated argument, which happens in workplaces all the time. Because I tell you what, I couldn't get behind Mr. Clarkson, especially in this whole this petition that was actually came out here as of late, which now has over a million hits on it, a million different signatures on this particular petition. In fact, so many signatures that the group that put it together, they rented a tank. Yes, a military tank right down the streets of London, right up to the BBC office. Check it out on Yahoo or Google. You'll be able to find it pretty quick. It's pretty weird looking. And Mr. Clarkson has come out and said, listen, protesting doesn't work. Doing the petition didn't work either, so... But there's a situation where quite possibly the BBC may have overreacted to this deal, that they may, unless it got loose in the press, which is what happened, could have probably filed this away, dealt with it internally, got the last 3 episodes out, then dealt with it later, in a later date, quite possibly, just for this sheer fact. If Jeremy Clarkson punched the guy again, I couldn't get behind him because, you know, workplace violence is nothing to make fun of. This is definitely something, if he punched him, he's definitely in the wrong, but he may not be in the wrong, and this may be a way overreaction by the BBC, because Mr. Clarkson apparently has already got himself a lawyer group. And if they do, the BBC that is, fire him, he's going to sue the BBC. Yes, for wrongful termination, I'm assuming for defamation of character. Something that maybe further improve and, well, backs this particular theory of mine is now that the fact that maybe this wasn't seen by a bunch of people, but may just been seen by 4 different people, mainly the producer and these 3 guys. Apparently James May and Richard Hammond were on site for the entire argument, and they, meaning James May and Richard Hammond, have both filed lawsuits, or at least not of yet, but are getting ready to, for loss of wages. Why would they back Jeremy Clarkson, who allegedly punched a guy, by backing him if they're going to go right back to work for the BBC? And then wouldn't that make a terrible work environment for them and future programming? So this is kind of an interesting deal. heading forward. We're going to have to wait and see what comes of this, but it's some weird updates of what's come out in the past several days, and I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot more, because apparently the TopGear.com said there's going to be no new updates until the investigation is over, which I'm assuming meaning, well, there's going to be no last edition of Top Gear, which is supposed to be coming a week from the taping of this particular program, which obviously doesn't matter too much to you. It happened on a Sunday night in the UK, but you won't probably see this thing until the Monday night, the actual airing of the U.S. version, or I should say the U.S. airing of Top Gear Season 22 from the UK. So, again, I'll keep you up to date, but it is getting weirder and weirder out there, and it's really tough to try to find fact from fiction. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. If you want to jump on over to the Facebook page, links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.